Our guest for this hour is seated here with us, and we'll say good morning, first of all. Timothy Owase is the CEO of the Kenya Film Commission. Good morning, Timothy.
Good morning.
Welcome back to Kenya's Biggest Conversation.
Thank you very much for hosting me.
I can hear you. I'm glad that you're with us. It's been a year since we were here.
We were here in March during the Kalasha market.
Yes.
And before then, I was here during the Kalasha Awards last December.
Exactly.
And this is December.
This is December.
Indeed.
So now when I say you're back after a year, it's on this what we were talking about last year when we talked about these awards, and we're talking
Correct.
about the fantastic opportunities
Yes.
that are there for Kenyans and others around the world to see some of Kenya's fantastic content
I agree.
and to take Kenya's content, onto a global scale.
Indeed.
So another December rolls around. And here we are again with the 12th edition of the awards. And just off the bat, if you can remind us exactly what these awards are about and why we do them yearly.
It's a season for us to celebrate excellence within our film and television industries. And that's why Kenya Film Commission came up with the Kalasha International Film and TV Awards. So tomorrow, the 3rd of December, Kenyans will be celebrating the 12th edition of Kalasha International Film and Television Awards, where we will award 39 different categories in various sections within the value chain. The objective of the commission hosting the awards is basically to appreciate and celebrate the winners and also the practitioners within the industry. We know the global demand for content has driven a lot of production across the globe, and Kenya is poised to be one of those countries that will play a host to productions and to give us room for job creation, among others. So tomorrow, as we celebrate, not only are we just awarding the winners, but we're also reminding ourselves that we have an opportunity to utilize the screen sector as a critical economic honor for this country. So the Commission is committed to this, and it's driving this agenda with the clarity that it deserves, and also with the clear view that we can be able to achieve much in our country as far as opportunities that are present within this sector are concerned. Yes.
When you say that a demand, I'm paraphrasing what you said, the demand has risen and for content, and the demand is being met, or at least there's an attempt to meet the demand. How do you measure demand? How do you determine that the demand has gone up? What are the indicators?
Consumer demand for content has grown.
How do you measure that? That's what I'm asking.
How we get to know that the demand is high is the demand by the key channels. For example, the OTT platforms like Netflix are now looking for varied content coming from different continents. 5 years ago, actually the time I was here last,
which was a year ago,
Kenya didn't have even 2 products on Netflix. But as we speak now, we have over 10 products on Netflix, and the demand is growing. In addition to that, there is a huge demand for localization, which means you can have a Kenyan product consumed in China and localized to the Chinese language. And that's an opportunity for us.
Let's take a look at the mandate of the Kenya Film Commission. So what are the rules? What is the mandate?
Great.
Before we get to, celebrating folks tomorrow, what have you then put in place to make sure things run and operate? What is your mandate as the KFC?
The commission was established to create a vibrant local film industry in Kenya, and also to market Kenya as a filming destination. To be very specific, we have about 11 mandates. 1, to build capacity in terms of skills. We develop and promote a screening culture in the country through audience development. Undertake research so that we are able to provide information as far as the performance of the local film industry is concerned. We also offer facilitation through liaison services to the film industry. And we also advise government on matters, funding, and film incentives. Other than that, the Commission has a role to establish a repository for Kenya's film products, among others. So we undertake this, and out of these specific mandates, we have come up with specific programs which we undertake on day to day to see to it that we are able to achieve the mandate as bestowed to Kenya Film Commission by Kenyans. Yes.
So there are standards that you set. There are rules that filmmakers in Kenya have to follow. What are some of those?
Okay, Kenya Film Commission is a developer. By that, we are actually all about creating an enabling environment for Kenyan film industry to thrive. So we facilitate and advise the industry on what is expected of them. Other than that, we also ensure that we are building capacity to accommodate the requirements of either local or international producers who are coming in to produce content here. In addition to that, we promote investment into the sector. We would like to see more studios being established. Other than that, creating more experts within the industry so that we are able to produce high quality products in terms of film. In addition to this, we have a mandate to accredit and certify filmmakers. That is a mandate that is close to your question as to whether we set standards. We would like to be able to accredit filmmakers on an annual basis so that we are able to allow them to come out as professionals. For a very long time, these sectors, professionals or practitioners, have not been classified as key professionals because they've not had an identity that will be able, just like journalists. Journalists are always accredited by the Media Council.
Yes.
But filmmakers don't have an accrediting body, and that's why the Commission was given this mandate. So in the very near future, the Commission is going to be issuing accreditation cards for all filmmakers in the country.
Okay. And then even as you look at it, I mean, with journalists, as we get accredited by the Media Council, there's certain things then that you have to, tick off to say that, do you have this 1, 2, 3 before then you get your accreditation?
Indeed.
What would that be then for filmmakers?
We are coming up with the guidelines, the code of regulation that all filmmakers will have to adhere to. And when we have that, through public participation, we should be able to gazette the same and have the same applied. But the key intention is to organize the industry, have the film sector in the country as an industry that is well appreciated and well coordinated through formations of film associations and guilds. And through this, we'll be able to accredit filmmakers in their specific roles within the film value chain.
Right.
If you're a director, we should be able to recognize you as a film director. If you're a producer, the same way, an actor, a set designer, an editor, and so on and so forth.
So everybody across those genres within the film basket essentially would be able to get accreditation.
Correct.
Is the accreditation domiciled in Kenya, but then does the accreditation then allow you then to operate in different parts of the world?
Of course, it recognizes that you are a professional within the industry. So anyone who is hiring you, whether locally or internationally, will have a basis as to who you are and what are you capable of doing. This will also complement our creative database, which we have come up with to provide an array of accessibility by all who want to access skills in this country.
Okay.
For example, if one wants to get a producer, they just need to go to Kenya Film Commission website, directory, and find how many producers can I be able to access in Kenya, and can they be able to offer services in a different country or within the country. So as one way of identifying skills so that we can be able to put them in use.
That's interesting that you say that, to have a database where people can go to. Because up until now, it's really been, if I've worked on a TVC, if I've worked on something as a producer, I would just get selected later to work on another project by virtue of the fact that maybe the director or the associate director knew me. So then I can get another job. But now if you have a database, that it just allows...
We want that to be very professional. You should not be able to get hired because you know somebody.
Which is how the film industry has run.
It should be based on your skills, your professional being, and your capabilities. And that's why the creative database is so critical.
Okay.
Yes.
Where do independent filmmakers now fall here? That could be of Kenyan origin.
Even independent filmmakers will have an opportunity to be accredited.
Okay.
Yeah, but we encourage all filmmakers to be affiliated to either Film Federation, because within the draft film policy that has been developed, we are proposing to have a National Film Federation, which will be an umbrella body for all practitioners within the industry.
The thing that I find interesting is, as you speak, I get the impression that this particular industry, this creative industry, seems to have a renaissance. It's like it's a rebirth. It's suddenly blossoming, and it's entered what we may refer to as mainstream business, mainstream activities. I say this because in a time gone by, it wasn't that.
Correct.
Now, two things: potential and what its current status. In terms of employment, what would you say are the numbers regarding the people who are employed in this industry and the potential employment capacity that this industry actually has?
Actually, that's a very good question. The industry is blossoming at the moment, and there are three things that we are focusing on to ensure that we attain the real potential of this sector. One is policy, legislation, and strategy. When we address those three, then we'll be able to attain maximum return as far as our potential is concerned. It is estimated that this sector is capable of contributing about 200 billion shillings to our economy annually if we actually operate at an optimum capacity. About employment, in the year 2019, the studies or the research undertaken by the Kenya National Bureau of Statistics estimated that as of 2019, we had direct jobs of 130, and with a contribution of about 3 billion shillings. But that is just an understatement because we are yet to get
130 as in 130 or 130,000?
130,000.
Oh,
130,000.
130.
Yeah, direct jobs. But remember, when we talk about the employment within the film sector, there are those direct benefits, the indirect benefits, and the induced ones. So these were direct jobs that the industry was able to apply as at that time. And this doesn't count those people who are employed in the hospitality industry based on the production of various films, transport, legal, among others. So the potential is huge. We are able to create an annual inflow of jobs of over 240,000. Other than that, as far as economic contribution, I can also confirm that the potential is so huge. This sector is capable of contributing to our economy to a high of 200 billion shillings if optimally applied. Yes.
You also fund filmmakers as the Kenya Film Commission, funding filmmakers, giving them partial or, quite significant amounts in terms of projects that they're working on. Tell us a little bit about that, because it segues into...
It's within our mandate to establish a film fund. But for a very long time, because of the legal issues, we've not been able to establish a film fund for the country, which we are working on. But prior to that, we have come up with a program. We call it the Empowerment Program. This is a funding program that Kenya Film Commission established in 2020 in the mid of COVID. And the intention was to provide funding to filmmakers so that we are able to facilitate to a level. Of course, the kind of funding that we offer the industry may not be sufficient. We encourage filmmakers to get seed funding from other sources. It could be from banks or financial institutions, crowdfunding, friends and family. Then the commission complements whatever filmmakers have. So far, we have disbursed about 70 million shillings in form of grants to enable filmmakers tell stories. Yes.
And what has been the impact? I mean, because yes, it's fun. When we think of film, I think our minds go automatically to entertainment. And so is there some kind of social impact that's tied from this grant making to the filmmaker to say that this is the social impact that we hope would be had? And does KFC then play a role in making sure that that social impact is realized?
Yes, well, when you talk about filmmaking, the social impact can be measured in many ways. One, film plays a critical role of integrating and cohesing the country. When we look at our country as it is, we have over 44 tribes, but film doesn't know any boundaries. So you can be able to tell your story in whichever language and it will be understood. And that's where localization comes in. We are also promoting a screening culture in this country. The intention is we would like Kenyans to be able to appreciate each other by watching their own stories. The other component is job creation. This sector provides an array of opportunities for job creation as compared to any other. It provides jobs of now and jobs of the future, jobs that no one can be able to displace. And that's why highly skilled manpower are found within this particular sector out of innovation and technological advancements. So the sector provides a huge opportunity to government and to Kenyans to be able to advance the same in terms of job creation, employment, branding our country. Other than that, cultural diversity can be promoted through this particular storytelling component, and also the need for us to mainstream the sector through our education system.
Right.
Yes.
Now, the filmmaking, entertainment,
Yes.
is your board the institution or the entity that is charged with determining the usability, the suitability of these movies for age groups?
Kenya Film Commission promotes productions in the country.
That's it.
But there is an institution called Kenya Film Classification Board that plays a role of classifying movies. We promote development of productions.
That's all you do.
After we've done this, there is a different entity that ensures that the country is advised that this film is suitable for age X, Y, and Z.
Yes.
There's a question I've always wanted to ask. Please allow me. I'm going to ask it.
Please do.
So these guys just watch movies the whole day, because surely.
Not necessarily.
How on earth do you classify it unless you watch it?
Yes, they have mechanisms on how to watch. That's why, as a producer,
Wait a moment.
I have
Mechanism of how to watch. They don't use their eyes for watching. What?
They watch. Of course, they use their eyes to watch, but the main essence of them watching is so that they can be able to advise all other audiences that this film is not suitable for your children under this particular age.
Do we must invite these people here?
And
I really want to understand how this classification is done.
it's a global thing, actually.
Yes.
Yeah, and that's why through technology, there is more of promoting self-regulation, especially from the production side. Where I sit, I encourage my producers to study the classification mechanism so that when they are producing films, they are able to actually classify their films by themselves at the production level.
Okay.
Right.
You say it's a global thing. Can I ask the question? Or are we going to a break?
You can ask it. You can
Okay.
ask it.
Do we consider the limitations and the promotions of our cultural norms and expectations when we set these standards? Because if I look at what we call international classifications, I have watched movies that are classified as 13 and below, and it has serious adult content, in my opinion. Perhaps it's my cultural understanding of it. I have watched animations which are meant for general consumption, and the level of violence is extreme. So I'm simply saying,
I think that's why Kenya Film Classification Board is there, to actually address that particular problem that you have experienced.
how do you address it?
There are regulations, and that's why we've had KFCB banning movies in this country, because they are violating our norms, our constitutional provisions, and so on, of which I personally support that we have to preserve our cultural norms. Yes. Yeah.
All right, we're going to take a break in a bit and take a look at weather and traffic. But I mean, just looking at the professionalization of film making and production in this country, we're talking about education and then being able to then grant to filmmakers an opportunity for seed funding they would not ordinarily get somewhere else.
Yes.
Leading to then their recognition, which is all culminating, in tomorrow's event. Looking at more details of that when we come back out of this break, because it's important to know. Before, like we say, it's just kind of been like, we pull things out of wherever they can be pulled, and let's make a film and let's see where it will get. But if we add some attention to it, and I'm getting the understanding that is what you have been doing as KFC.
Right.
It's what you've been doing as KFC to then say, look, let's professionalize this.
Right.
And let's now be able to present it locally and globally in a manner in which it makes sense. The conversation continues in a minute, but I want to tell you what Kiwi's doing. Step up and shine, and what you can do as we are on holiday. Indeed, for schools now. But remember, you shine your shoes. It doesn't matter where you go. You're still shining. Get yourself 1 tin of Kiwi black shoe polish, and you can get airtime or data. School fees of up to 35,000 shillings will be awarded and paid directly to school for you. All you need to do is dial *459# and enter the code under the lid, and it could be you who would win school fees in the 96 days of January that is coming up. It's Kenya's biggest conversation. It continues after this break.
This is The Situation Room, the only way to start your day.
And that could jump us into the partnership conversation that we've been talking about.
Indeed.
When we talk about the push towards professionalization of this industry in Kenya, partners come in, and one would hope that they do.
Yes,
so what
indeed.
are the partnerships that that the Kenya Film Commission has been looking at over the years to support and buffer filmmakers in
First,
the country?
It's an appreciation that film is serious business. When we all look at it in that angle, then we look at it from A to Z of filmmaking or storytelling by appreciating that filmmaking is for a purpose. We make films to be able to achieve certain goals. They may be social goals, economic goals, among others. So at Kenya Film Commission, we are focused on creating an ecosystem that will ignite the development and growth of this sector. We have quite a number of partnerships. We know research and statistics are very critical. So this financial year, we've partnered with Kenya National Bureau of Statistics to come up with the first ever film satellite account, which will enable the country to be able to know how much are we contributing to the economy, how many people are employed in the sector, and again, how many graduates are coming out of university and joining the film sector. This information will be able to, in turn, help decision makers in determining certain actions within the operations of the film sector. So as we do this, we have also brought on board a number of other partners. We have development partners like the GIZ, that is the German government, who are supporting us on the empowerment program, capacity building, because these are components within the film industry value chain that will help in professionalizing the industry. In addition to that, Kenya signed an agreement with the giant Netflix International so that we can be able to fund local productions, build capacity in the country, and also provide opportunities for filmmakers, young filmmakers, to get opportunities to shadow the experienced filmmakers in various parts of the world. You can imagine if we had 25 local filmmakers being spread across the globe. We have, let's say, 2 in Mexico, 3 in Asia, and all that, getting different kind of experience so that when they come back here in Kenya, they can be able to share with their fellow practitioners. This will be able to enhance the quality of productions, capacity in terms of skills, and also the quality of stories that come out, which will be able to enable this country to compete at the global level.
Right.
And by doing that, and also through Kalasha International Film and TV Awards, this is just to give us a rating statement that we can be able to compete at a quality level, and also to be able to show that Kenya is ready to do business with other countries.
Right.
And remember, in addition to this, the month of November saw over 15 local films premiered, which is a clear indicator of the number of films that are actually coming out on an annual basis in this country.
Sure.
Kenya also signed an audiovisual agreement with South Africa to give Kenyan practitioners to work with their counterparts in South Africa, utilize opportunities available there in terms of funding, production facilities like studios, among others. Yes.
So even as you say that, 15 films in the month of November,
Yes.
In a market such as this, which came off of 2 years of COVID-19 when nothing was happening. So 15 new films. But then the purpose of a film is not for you to produce a film and keep it in your pocket.
Correct.
You want people to watch
Yes.
it.
Yeah.
Is there an adequate screening culture in Kenya? And if not, what are the moves to say, okay, guys, come out and actually start to view these films, watch these films?
Great. With the emergence of COVID-19, the screening culture went down, but Kenyans are now coming out to be able to watch their own stories, and the demand for local stories growing. But at the same time, it's key to the content creators that we now have huge opportunities through technology. Many people are accessing content on their mobile devices, and telecom companies have now become key distribution pipelines for content creators. What that means, we are working around to see to it that the component of monetization is critical to content creators. All digital platforms that are available, how do we ensure that content creators are able to get income from the work they do? So all these opportunities are providing content creators with room for many Kenyans or viewers to access their content, because anytime you produce your content, you are producing it for a specific audience line. And if you know exactly who is your audience, you are able to monetize that and address the needs of that particular segment. But to answer your question, the screening culture in Kenya is still a challenge, but the Commission is driving that through our audience development program to see to it that Kenyans go back to the movies and are able to watch and also pay for movies that they are watching.
Right.
Yes.
So how then, and I think it's for a lot of people, I'm thinking for those who are wanting to get into film, who want to get into production,
Right.
and we're talking about the screening culture, right? So we're trying to work on that, you know? But the earning factor is an important factor. For those who want to get, because one might think, well, it's all about acting. Well, no, it's not. There's a flurry of careers that surround film and filmmaking, from production to, logistics to public relations and things like this. So then the question is, what is the earning muscle of film production in the country today?
Well, within the film industry value chain, there are various aspects that one will be able to focus on. We have producers, we have executive producers, we have actors, set designers, directors, among others. So when one joins the film industry in a specific element, a key determinant or a question that you need to ask yourself, you want to join the film industry as what? And again, from parenting level, my rallying call is to ask parents to allow their children or their youngsters to do what their passion is. If your child is a perfect dancer and he or she would like to pursue dancing as a career, don't limit that kid to pursue that particular line, because there is no career within the creative industry that is not paying. City, you will be able to agree with me that in some parts of this country, actually across this country, when growing up before the emergence of technology, clay used to play a lot of role in terms of children playing. You would mold aeroplanes, big buses, build houses, and play with that. But today, I'm asking that we can actually move the same traditional way of building these houses, aeroplanes, and so on through software development and come up with the gaming products which can be sold. And when we do this, we create wealth out of the same, because it's a huge opportunity.
Indeed.
And that's why, other than referring to this as a film industry, we are now advancing it to a screen sector, because it covers games, it covers animation, and it covers film. Yes.
So are you going to change the name?
No, globally it's now being recognized as a screen sector because gaming is part of filmmaking. Yes.
So the organization that you head.
Yes.
That's the question I'm asking. Are you going to retain your name, or are you going to change a name that reflects?
We'll transform as time goes and as the demand of the nature requires.
Yes.
But I can assure you, the opportunities around the screen sector cannot be compared to anything else other than what we can be able to achieve as a country. All I'm calling on Kenyans is to see the value and champion the productivity of this particular sector.
Essentially, do I hear you to be saying that the opportunities that are available in this particular sector can only be limited by you and your imagination?
As a creator, you are not limited by anything.
Yeah.
You can be able to go beyond your imagination. Yes.
Okay. Looking at these individuals over time then who may have been supported, whose talents then have been brought out, we're seeing these screenings. Again, I'm coming back to this great number of 15 new films in the month of November. Obviously, they did not start production in November.
No.
They started production a while ago, but then they actually came to the fore later. How then does this fuel who you will celebrate at the Film Awards now tomorrow? How then do you decide what categories then are you looking at? Who do you decide will be celebrated when it comes
That's
to
a
the
good
awards?
question. By the time we get to the celebrations tomorrow, it's been a journey. This is a journey that has taken several months for us to arrive at the winning team tomorrow of 39. First, we send out a call for submissions, and all filmmakers have an equal opportunity to submit their entries. Then the industry comprise the jury. This jury is the one that sift through the films that have been submitted to be able to come up with the nominated films. And the nominated films normally end up into the public voting component, which enables Kenyans to be able to select which is the best out of, for example, if it is the best director category, we have 5 nominated films. One of them will be able to emerge as a winner. And of course, determining the winning film out of the nominated is the public and the jury. So the jury, the key component here is that the jury comprises of filmmakers themselves, which are represented on the panel. And this panel, how we send out calls to the industry to nominate their representatives to come and be part of the jury.
Yeah.
Yes.
What's the splash in terms of communication, in terms of letting the public know that, there are these Kenyan films, brilliant in nature, that have actually been produced over time by Kenyan filmmakers, by Kenyan producers, by, a set, whether they include, what people on set from set members, a set crew from other countries or not, but that was made here. What's the splash? Because we see this in many other countries whereby one movie was made and they talk about it as though, it's the greatest thing since sliced bread. So what is the commitment or what is the communication angle that KFC uses to spread this around?
This is a show business.
Yeah.
And it being a show business, we need a collective effort by all Kenyans, the media, to be able to position filmmaking to a level that we desire. And this is a challenge that I would like to pose to the nation, especially broadcasting and print. How come we never position show business in our headlines? We focus on other topical issues more as compared to the show business. Number 2, the government has put in place what we call the 40-60% quota system for free-to-air content that ought to be aired by local free-to-air broadcasting. How well are media houses achieving this particular component, and are we supporting local filmmaking in terms of publicity so that we are able to position these particular products to a level where we are able to achieve the kind of splash that we expect? Yes.
Okay. So, come tomorrow, come at the hour, what exactly happens?
It will be a glamorous event. It's a black tie kind of event.
Please explain. Black tie meaning?
It's a show event that we'll have tomorrow from 6:30 p.m. And I can assure you, you will have a red carpet where the winning categories will be celebrated in a style that elevates them as show makers in the country.
It's the black tie thing that I want to understand.
Yes.
Why do you call it black tie? Why not red tie? Why not green tie?
Black tie, basically this is associated with the entertainment industry.
Glamour and
yes.
pizzazz.
Yes.
There's a question, though, that I want to ask. If I look at the entertainment industry globally,
Yes.
one of the things that makes it attractive
Right.
is what is reported as the earnings of people who are high up in that particular industry. Okay, now, what is it that determines the earnings of the people who are in this industry?
Well, globally, as you rightfully put it, the earnings of practitioners in this industry is way higher, and Kenya can also be able to attain the same. All we are working towards achieving is to position ourselves at a level where we can be able to produce very high quality products that the demand for the same will be at a rate at which, for example, DiCaprio's film will be competing with. If we have that, then the pricing for this local content product or practitioner will be as I would compare to the Hollywood producer.
What would make that possible? Because we know that there is, there is huge capital injection. Looking at some of these, there's huge capital injection when it comes to what they put towards government-based, government-supported and funded. But then we also see that the advertising that comes from sectors is huge.
It's a combined effort, actually.
Exactly. So how could that happen?
That will happen through incentivizing the sector, allocating more money into the sector in a manner that if CT wants to script his story should be supported to a level of the international standard. But if we are producing a low-value film, then it will not be possible for us to compete at that particular.
Is it possible to do? I mean, let me give you an example. Some of the series that we watch on TV and such, we have actors being paid upwards of $200,000 an episode.
Right.
An episode for a series or season that is 12, 24 episodes.
It is very possible. And for me, I'll start from organization. Like locally, we need to create guilds that are actually working for the artists. If we have red cards that will set standards as to if you are a script writer, if you are an actor, how much are you eligible to be paid, for example, per hour? If that is not in place, then it will be very difficult for us to attain that kind of standard. Number two, put more money into the sector in a manner that we are able to produce high-quality products by using high-quality equipment and also being able to bring in, through co-production treaties, bring in co-producers from other regions. I'll give an example. A Kenyan writer collaborating with a Nigerian producer and bringing in a set designer from India and bringing in a director from Hollywood, all this combined will be able to give a product that will be coming from this country a global view. And that way, it ups the market. And when it ups the market, the rate card for such practitioners will also go high.
Okay.
So it is very possible. And again, the media also has to play a critical role of positioning the sector through proper publicity. And of course, I know media is in business, but being in business, you may be able to apply what we call corporate social responsibility in supporting my sector.
Indeed. Yeah. The education sector, I think, is really important here because what we're trying to do is cement something amongst people who are already practitioners. But then there's the promise of the future for those who are in school today.
Right.
Those who are in high school, those who are in primary school, who want to imagine that they could operate in this world and wouldn't necessarily have to leave the country to do so.
Correct.
So is the film commission involved in education projects at a primary level to get students, learners at this point to understand that it is actually a career that you could make in Kenya?
That's a very good point, and I can confirm, yes, the Kenya Film Commission is involved. We are currently setting up what we call film clubs in schools. And the intention is to create these clubs a sense of understanding that a kid who wants to become a film producer, they can actually grow from that lowest level all the way. And that can only be achieved if they are nurtured growing from kindergarten all the way to university, knowing that this is a career. We do not want to see a situation you are passionate and you are talented in your area, only to get to your high school level. When you are choosing a career at university, you are limited to taking specific courses because that's what you are being guided to do. And yet you are so talented in your particular creative area. So through film clubs in schools and the key outreach programs that the Commission has set out is actually creating room for an understanding within an education level, and also working with the Kenya Curriculum Development Institution, as well as the Ministry of Education. We are working on how do we mainstream the creative sector into the education system in Kenya. And I believe CBC is one of those initiatives that are connected to this sector. Yes.
You know, the entertainment factor in this particular industry is big, but there are those who've argued that it offers an escapism that may not necessarily be healthy. Now, beyond just the production that is balanced, that looks at real life features as well as things which are purely fictional and purely meant for entertainment, how do you balance this?
Through entertainment, there is what we call edutainment. You can be able to access programs that are more educative. Let's just go back a few years ago when we had COVID-19. Think about how entertainment industry played a role in educating the masses on how to prevent the issue of infections of COVID-19, among others, HIV and AIDS, and among others. In agriculture, you utilize the entertainment industry to educate farmers on how to utilize certain technologies and so on. So the creative sector provides an array of opportunities, not only just to entertain, but as a job source and also as a cultural heritage preservation mechanism, and also as a room for creating an opportunity for jobs of the future, which are not compared to anything else.
Indeed. Timothy, what would be your final words on these awards that take place tomorrow, and then moving forward into the future as it concerns film?
Well, tomorrow, mine is to welcome all Kenyans to watch Kalasha International Film and TV Awards, which will be taking place tomorrow at Safari Park. And we'll have this live on KTN from 7:30. So watch the awards and let's celebrate our winners tomorrow.
Indeed.
And again, encourage Kenyans who are yearning to join this sector that your choice of joining the sector is very valid, because this is the sector of the future. And let's create opportunities for all Kenyans in this country.
Indeed. Timothy, it's always a pleasure to have you here. Hopefully it will not be another year before we see you again, and
Indeed.
we can, come in and talk about, the progression of the industry, and then see what happens, after some of these, collaborations that you've been talking about actually do
Indeed.
come into being.
I have many topical issues that we can discuss: statistics, capacity building, audience development, creating a screening culture here. And these are some of the key areas that we can be able to collaborate and work together. So I'm hoping that in the next few weeks, I should be back so that we can be able to discuss more on the screen sector.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Let's do it.